PM Modi is talking about it.
यूके की 6 यूनिवर्सिटीज भारत में कैंपस खोल रही। पिछले हफ्ते ही भारत के गुरुग्राम शहर में साउथहैम्पटन यूनिवर्सिटी कैंपस का उद्घाटन हुआ है।
At the inauguration in July 2025, Haryana CM Nayab Singh Saini and Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan called this move as a landmark in Indian education transformation. So what does this really have in store for our Indian students? Is it really going to meet the aspirations of the global education that they have? Or is it simply a university setting up its campus in India? Today we have with us Dr. Vishal Talwar, who is the current Chief Operating Officer of University of Southampton. He has led prestigious institutions both in India and abroad. In India, IMT Ghaziabad, and abroad, LSE London. India and UK, they have different rules. They have a different taxation system. Ideology, like the way they have studied throughout. How different will it be for Indian students to absorb all this?
If I look at 1947, for example, we had a handful of universities. We currently have more than 1,300 universities in the country.
If you have to describe University of Southampton in one line, what would it be?
So University of Southampton, Delhi, it's a pioneering initiative. It's top 100 QS ranked university. On the other side, University of Southampton, Delhi.
Can we expect that the faculty from UK will be flying down, or are we working on training Indian professors at that level?
University of Southampton, Delhi will be a melange of faculty from Southampton, faculty from having rich international experience coming back into India, and faculty from India who would want to work in an international environment.
A lot of students come in and ask, when we are studying in the University of Southampton, will we spend some semesters in the UK campus?
Absolutely. I think that's an important thought that students will have in their mind. So our undergrad students will have the opportunity to go.
Hi, I'm Ankita Sharma, co-founder Top Uni Network, and your host for the very first episode of Top Uni Talks, where we discuss education simply and smartly. Today, we are witnessing a truly historic moment, one that has potential to redefine how Indian students access world-class global education right here at home. University of Southampton has officially launched its first ever campus in India, and this university is ranked amongst top 100 in the world. Will it curb the brain drain and reduce the education migration costs, or is it simply a question of prestige? Sir, you've made a move to a transition to UK's Southampton University, the first campus that they're setting up in India, foreign university. So would you like to throw a light on the move, sir? Why this transition?
Well, I think my tenure at IMT Ghaziabad was, very, very exciting for me. It had a good base of students, good colleagues, good faculty, good alumni, and everything. So for me, it was a great opportunity to be a part of a top business school. Of course, thereafter, a good opportunity came along for me to be able to steer the University of Southampton, Delhi. It was a pioneering initiative as part of the new education policy. It was the first time that an international university under the aegis of the UGC, under the aegis of the new education policy was coming into the country. And I think this was an opportunity for me to be able to combine both my UK experience as well as my Indian experience to be able to create something from scratch. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. We are going to great lengths to ensure that the kind of experience that a student gets in the Indian context, in University of Southampton, Delhi, is nowhere less than the experience that they might get somewhere else, maybe at the University of Southampton in the UK or even in Malaysia for that matter. How do we do that? We do that by being able to ensure that every faculty of ours is aligned with the kind of curriculum that is being taught. There's a lot of alignment, there's a lot of discussion, there's a lot of curriculum design that happens collaboratively along with the University of Southampton in the UK. In fact, all our faculty recently, in the UK, right? Why were they there? They were there to be able to exchange ideas. They were there to be able to pick up on a lot of different things from there: the ethos, the philosophy, the learning orientation, the delivery. And why do we do that? We do that because we have to ensure that there's a seamless transfer of the learning experience in the classroom here in Delhi. So that's something that we do. At the same time, what you also have to remember is that the faculty themselves have a rich research record, right?
Okay.
From an international perspective, right? Because we are a full-fledged university in coming to India. It's not just about teaching; it's about research. It's also about knowledge enterprise and exchange. So a lot of these things are being kept in mind to ensure that the experience is seamless. There's a lot of constant dialogue, between the UK and India to ensure that whatever we do in the classroom here, whether it's the assessments, whether it's the moderation, whether it's the learning in the classroom, whether the fact that our faculty here in India also have, let's say, a teaching qualification like the FHEA. Right? These are all things that we are being able to ensure that there is what I would call as a seamless transition or transition from Southampton, UK into Southampton in India. Because remember, the degree is the same, right? So because the degree is the same, it is important for us to ensure that whatever goes behind it in terms of the preparation, in terms of the delivery, in terms of the quality levels are also the same.
Can we expect that the faculty from UK will be flying down, or are we working on training Indian, professors at that level? So how are we working around this?
That's a very, very good question. We have overall essentially 3 different strains of faculty. One is faculty who will be on secondment from University of Southampton in the UK. These faculty will come in for certain long periods of time, be there, be a part of the team, deliver in the classroom, deliver beyond the classroom as well, just like they do in the UK. The other strain of faculty that we have are faculty who have had rich experience abroad, right? You would notice now, if you go to our website, if you go to any of our content, you'll realize that a lot of our faculty actually have international experience in the UK, for example. So, we have faculty who've done their PhDs or, at other Russell Group universities, and are now, coming back to the country. What is good and encouraging about this whole thing is that the University of Southampton, Delhi, has become a conduit or a channel for a lot of faculty with international experience, Indian origin faculty with experience abroad, who are then wanting to come back, right? And this is the case. If you look at our head of computer science, if you look at our lecturers, if you look at a lot of our faculty at this moment, are faculty with rich international experience, who are looking at an opportunity to come back, and Southampton has become that opportunity for them, or that channel for them. The other very, very encouraging aspect of our base of faculty is that we have a lot of very good, promising faculty who are applying to us who are from the Indian context, right? So there are faculty who are from some of the top institutions in the country who are actually applying to us.
Now, a lot of students come in and ask that, when we are studying in the University of Southampton, so will we spend some semesters in the UK campus, or how is it going to be, or will we be only, spending our curriculum completely in the Indian campus? So how is it going to be?
So, absolutely. I think that's an important thought that, students will have in their mind. And, that's something that we have been very, very consciously building into our curriculum. So our undergrad students, for example, will have the opportunity to go to Southampton in the UK, or if they prefer to go to Southampton in Malaysia, in their second years, right?
Okay.
And they'll be able to spend the entire, semester over there.
Okay.
Right? The reason why it is also happening is because there's a seamless equivalence of what we're teaching here and what we're teaching over there. So the curriculum remains the same, the courses, the modules remain the same, and thus in the process, that whole thing around credit transfers also remains possible. And that's something that, students should obviously capitalize upon.
So what you're trying to essentially say is it is going to meet the student expectations of when it comes to their global exposure. So they will essentially get the global exposure that they're craving for.
Absolutely. So if you look at global exposure can come in very many different ways.
Yes.
One way is the fact that they can spend an entire semester there.
Yes.
The other way is about the kind of storytelling that happens in the classroom, the kind of faculty who are coming in, the kind of industry engagements that they will have. So we are keeping in mind all these elements so as to be able to ensure that the kind of experience they get, being at University of Southampton, Delhi, is global in nature.
Yes, sir. So one more question that I have is India and UK, they have different rules. They have a different taxation system. They have a different ideology, like the way they have studied throughout.
Mm-hmm.
So how different or tough will it be for Indian students to absorb all this? And how are you aligning the course when it comes to, all these rules and taxations and everything?
Of course, what you have to remember is that any curriculum, right? You spoke about taxation issues, accounting standards. You have, the contextual relevance that needs to be kept in mind as well, right? So while the curriculum is global, while the whole ethos, the whole philosophy is to be able to create global citizens, a lot of contextual relevance will also be important, right? Because our students might operate around the globe. Our students might operate in a very dynamic, and economically progressive country like India, right? And thus it is important for us is to ensure, one, global relevance, but at the same time, contextual applicability. And that's something that we're focusing on a great deal. Yes.
So now this is a little thought that comes to every Indian's mind. So what is happening is University of Southampton is coming to Delhi. Now everybody is competing. Now Indian universities are also gearing up and trying to compete with the universities at global standards. So what is your opinion about it? What would you like to say?
Look, India is a very vast
Sir.
country. If I look at 1947, for example, we had a handful of universities. We currently have, as of May of 2025, we have more than 1,300 universities in the country. But what you have to remember is that, what's our objective? Our objective, as India, is to be able to ensure that there is access for a lot more people, right? That our gross enrollment ratio, which currently stands at about 29% or maybe 30%, should go up to 50%, right? What is gross enrollment ratio? It is the ratio of the eligible, students who are currently in undergraduate education, for example. What does that require? That requires infrastructure. That requires, a contribution or a partnership in educational ecosystems. That requires a lot more, focus on, infrastructure that is being developed in the country, whether it is coming along from a lot of good institutions that actually exist in India. Of course, at the same time, institutions that are coming from abroad. The fact that the government, the regulatory bodies have allowed foreign universities to come into the country is with a view to be able to contribute to that educational ecosystem, to be able to bring in new ideas, be able to bring in new research-based skill sets, to be able to bring in more centers of excellence, right? All this is an attempt to be able to do two things. One, increase access, and at the same time also be able to bring in more, more equity. In a way, across and fill up a lot of the different gaps that might exist. So I think it's it's something that India and Indians stand to benefit from, right? You get different thoughts, you get different higher education ecosystems working together in partnership, in collaboration, co-creating a lot of the different learning that is required for a country like India. If you look at what's happening currently, the digital transformation, the automation, we keep talking about artificial intelligence. We keep talking about, what life is going to be, what work is going to be as we go along. And, I think it is important for us to be, ready for that. It is important for us to be more prepared for that. And I think the fact that a lot of international setups, a lot of globally relevant institutions are coming into the country can only benefit, India, the society, and Indians.
Sir, you've worked in Indian education system and you've worked with renowned institutions abroad. So what is that one difference which you'd like to highlight, which is good abroad and which is not present in India?
Well, I think, as I mentioned in my previous, answer, look, the fact is that, a lot of the benefits we currently enjoy as an economy right now, whether Indians in India or Indians abroad, have contributed. You see so much success. You see a lot of people doing very well, did their undergrad here, went across for their postgrad, maybe did their doctorate or whatever it is, right? They've done well. What does it tell me? It tells me that, a lot of the fundamentals of the, higher education system in India is obviously intact, has contributed, and has been an advantage to many people. What you also have to remember is that, Indians as a whole are quite aspirational, very ambitious, right?
Yes,
so if I
yes.
club a strong fundamental educational system, along with our ability or our, to sustain our ambition, our aspiration, or make something out of it, I think that's done well for India. So I think India, and the Indian educational system has served the country well. Now it's more a question of how we utilize that, how we build up on it, how do we, develop further to be able to face the challenges of society. It's climate, resilience, sustainability, equity, the different gaps that might exist. I think this is where, the combination of global university systems coming in, contributing to the, Indian education system, coming in, working by themselves or working in tandem with, other like-minded institutions in the country can only help further. I think it's about, looking at the next level. It's about looking at what's next. It's about looking at, okay, we've done well. Now, what do we need to be able to do much better?
So, sir, since like you worked both globally and nationally, what is the myth that Indian students have about studying abroad? There are certain myths that they have. So, what are those?
You have almost 800,000 students from India who have gone abroad or go abroad every year, right? And quite a few of them have actually been able to capitalize on that opportunity, have been able to make something of themselves. They've done well, whether in the corporate world, whether in the entrepreneurial world, or whether in the academic world, whichever world, they've done well, right? So I think what is important for us to understand is that there's a certain thought that has gone behind it. But at the same time, you have to remember that that kind of accessibility has been limited, right? A certain number have gone abroad, but if I look at the quantum, if I look at the size of our country,
Yes, sir.
right, that number is still quite small in comparison.
Definitely,
Right.
yes.
So automatically what that means is that, when you have different education system, when you have global universities coming into the country, that can only help increase the access, right? Of course, what is happening now is that there are a lot of different changes in mindset, changes in, let's say, the macroeconomic scenarios. So automatically those changes, might contribute to maybe a recalibration, in terms of, okay, what do I need to do, right, to achieve what I want from a career perspective, from a learning perspective, right? So this actually will widen the scope, for us all, right? This will kind of recalibrate the mind about, can I look at India itself? Can I, study in India, right? Can I achieve my dreams? And remember, that's also a positive. The reason is very simple. India is a growth market. India is doing is a resilient economy. India is doing well economically for quite some time, and that by itself will enable a lot of achievement of career objectives as you go along. So the right kind of learning, right? The right kind of environment, the right kind of inspiration, within the country can by itself help a lot of, Indians in India to be able to achieve what they would like to achieve.
Great. So
The other thing, sorry, I wanted to
Yes,
add
yes,
is
please.
that, I think the other thing that we have to consider is that, the let's say, the limitations of, geography should not impact opportunity.
Yes.
Is exactly
Yes.
what I'm,
Yes.
trying to say here. So I think this whole idea that you needed to go somewhere to be able to get, some kind of learning or, let's say a certain kind of education, that by itself, is something that is being turned on its head as we speak.
Yes. Definitely. So, one last question. Finally, sir, if you have to describe University of Southampton in one line, what would it be?
So, University of Southampton, Delhi, is what I would call as, of course, it's a it's a pioneering initiative. It is the first under the UGC banner to come along to the country. It's top 100 QS ranked university. That's obviously on one side. On the other side is, University of Southampton, Delhi is an agent for change, is an agent of transformation from a learning standpoint, transformation from a standpoint of being able to mentor, being able to guide students to achieve what they would like to achieve. Look, at the end of the day, the facilitation, the personalization, the global nature of the curriculum, what does it do? It finally helps a student achieve what they would like to achieve.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, of course, this is not a one line, but I thought maybe I'll elaborate a little further.
No, sometimes elaborations are really needed.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, we thank Dr. Vishal Talwar for taking time out for debunking the myths and clearing the confusions around University of Southampton coming to India. What does that hold for students? What can they expect? What can they not expect? So, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for taking time out and answering the questions heads on and being that person who gave in clarity around all the confusions that there are.
Well, I think clarity is important. These are big decisions, right? The fact that a lot of international universities, including University of Southampton, Delhi, is coming to India.
Yes, sir.
Is a big opportunity, is a big decision.
Big
right?
decision. Yes.
At the same time, for a student who's looking at how they would like to spend the next few years of their lives, of their learning lives. That by itself is a very important decision. So, thank you very much. I'm happy to clear any thoughts or any queries that anyone might have. But thank you for giving me an opportunity today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.